Chosen one, anchor your spirit to what I am about to say right now. That restless feeling that has been sitting in your chest since yesterday, do not push it away. That is not anxiety. That is a warning. The enemy is working overtime today for one reason and one reason only. Tomorrow is not an ordinary day, and he knows what happens when you pass what is in front of you right now. It all ends tomorrow. The confusion, the pressure, the silent warfare you have been fighting alone. But here is what you need to understand before another minute passes. It is not ending because circumstances finally shifted. It is ending because of what you have already done. Think back to that moment this week when you felt everything inside you telling you to react, to defend yourself, to fire back. And you did not. You stayed still. You swallowed the words. You chose silence when everything in you wanted to explode. You thought that moment was weakness. You thought you failed a test. But that restraint was not failure. That restraint was the final signature on the enemy's eviction notice. You did not find this message by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The Holy Spirit did. This is a divine appointment that was written before you were born, and you are standing at the edge of something you cannot afford to walk away from. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal exactly what Tuesday represents in the Spirit, and why chosen ones specifically are being targeted right now with a final test designed to make them forfeit everything they have been building. I am going to walk you through the exact deception the enemy has planted in your mind this week about a decision you made. And at the end, I'm going to give you the declaration that seals your passage through this test and shuts the door on this cycle permanently. Do not click away. Your future self is not asking you to stay. Your future self is begging you, because if you leave before the end of this message, you leave before the verdict is read, and you cannot afford to miss your own verdict. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. It has not just been heavy, it has been disorienting. Like the ground beneath you is stable, but something in the atmosphere feels wrong, and you cannot explain it to anyone around you because they do not feel it. Maybe you have been moving through your day this week, performing normally on the outside, while something deep inside you is bracing for impact, waiting for something to break, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Or maybe you woke up at 3 in the morning and could not go back to sleep, and instead of peace, you found your own thoughts interrogating you, replaying conversations, replaying decisions, replaying that one specific moment and asking yourself if that was the moment you got it wrong. You feel suspended, not lost, but not arrived. Like you are standing in the hallway between two rooms and neither door will open. And in that hallway, in that suspension, the enemy has been whispering a very specific lie directly into that silence. Listen to your own thoughts and you will hear it. He is telling you that Tuesday is dangerous because of something you did. He is telling you that you are walking into this week already disqualified. He is replaying that moment when you walked away from a situation instead of fighting for it. That moment when you went quiet in a conversation that needed your voice. That moment when you stopped pushing and just let something go. He is telling you that was surrender. He is telling you that because you let that go, the blessing passed with it. He is telling you the test that is coming on Tuesday is one you are not equipped to pass because you already showed your weakness. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." Listen to that word, all things, not the clean things, not the victories, all things, the silence, the retreat, the moment you let go, the conversation you walked away from, the decision that looked like defeat. All of it is working. All of it is being woven into a coordinated conclusion that the enemy cannot dismantle because he did not architect it. God did. You are not walking into Tuesday week. You are walking into Tuesday armed with every decision you made this week that looked like failure and was actually divine positioning. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It is the pressure of a final gate. The weight you are carrying is not the weight of a man or woman who is losing. It is the weight of someone who is about to cross a threshold that changes the entire trajectory of what comes next. You are not being tested because you are failing. You are being tested because heaven is about to promote you, and a promotion at your level requires a final proof. That moment when you stayed silent, that was not weakness. That was your answer on the final exam. You did not disqualify yourself. You qualified yourself in a way you could not have done any other way. Some messages confirm what your spirit already knew. If something just shifted inside you, that is not emotion. That is activation. And what comes next matters more than what came before. The inner sanctum exists for exactly this moment in your journey. 365 days of divine transmissions delivered to you every single morning. A prophetic word, a decree of authority, a scripture weapon, and a prayer assignment written as if God is speaking directly to your situation. It also comes with the silent war, a spiritual attack diagnostic that reveals exactly where the enemy has been hitting you and gives you the counter prayer for each assault. Plus, the midnight watch, 30 prayers designed for the 3 a.m. hour that most chosen ones are already waking up to, but do not know how to use. The link is in the first pinned comment, but it will not stay there forever. Now let me tell you what Tuesday actually is. For too long, the whispers of the adversary have sought to ensnare your spirit, painting a distorted image of this approaching moment. The enemy has been framing it not as a threshold of new beginnings, but as a relentless, unforgiving courtroom where every misstep, every faltering decision, every imperfect choice from your past will be dragged into the harsh light, used as damning evidence against your worthiness and your readiness. He wants you to believe that the ledger of your life is about to be called, and that the verdict will be one of disqualification and regret. But I declare to you with absolute certainty that this is a profound and debilitating lie. That is not what Tuesday is. Dismiss that oppressive narrative from your mind and from the very air you breathe. Tuesday is not a courtroom designed for judgment. It is, in profound spiritual truth, a sacred delivery room. Envision it now, a space charged with anticipation, not accusation, a place where the agonizing push of preparation gives way to the miraculous arrival of new life. And what is about to be born in this divine birthing chamber, what is emerging from the depths of your being, was not conceived in haste or in the cacophony of your striving, but in the very stillness, the very quietude, the very profound silence he has been mocking you for. He saw your silence as stagnation, as weakness, as a retreat into irrelevance, when in truth it was a fertile ground where the seeds of your destiny were taking root, incubating in secret, gestating with divine purpose. He mocked the quiet, unaware that in that hallowed space, a miracle was being knit together, destined for this very moment of unveiling. There is a pivotal, almost seismic moment in the life of every single person chosen for something truly significant, something beyond the ordinary, something woven into the fabric of eternity. It is that precise, often uncomfortable intersection where the rigorous, often grueling season of preparation finally collides with the radiant, long-awaited embrace of the promise. This meeting point, this precipice of destiny, rarely, if ever, feels glorious or triumphant from the inside out. In fact, to the one standing in its midst, it feels intensely, almost overwhelmingly, like immense pressure. Imagine the deep-sea diver feeling the crushing weight of the ocean above, or the Earth's crust before a diamond is formed. It is a sensation of being compressed, refined, and tested to the very core. It feels like profound suspension, a delicate and agonizing balance between what was and what is yet to be, like a pendulum held at its highest arc, trembling before its descent into momentum. You feel poised, yet powerless, on the cusp of an irrevocable change. It feels like standing at the very edge of something enormous, something breathtakingly vast and utterly transformative, with no visible, tangible bridge stretching out before you, no clear path across the chasm. The sheer magnitude of what lies ahead can feel daunting, even terrifying. And why does it feel this way? Because the bridge you are meant to cross, the path to your breakthrough, is not constructed from the shifting sands of external circumstances, nor is it forged from the gleaming steel of instant gratification or sudden dramatic interventions. No. The true, unyielding bridge is made of the very ground you have already traversed, the terrain you have wrestled through, the trials you have endured, the lessons you have assimilated into the fiber of your being. Every tear shed, every prayer whispered, every moment of perseverance, every quiet act of faith, every doubt overcome, every step forward taken in the face of impossible odds. You have been laying it down, brick by arduous brick, stone by resilient stone, building the very foundation for your future without consciously knowing that is precisely what you were doing. The seemingly random, disparate pieces of your journey were not random at all. They were the essential components of your miraculous crossing. Consider for a moment the profound narrative of Elijah, a prophet whose life was a tapestry woven with astonishing miracles and deep human vulnerability. We often celebrate the magnificent, awe-inspiring Elijah, the Elijah who, on Mount Carmel, boldly called fire down from heaven in a blazing declaration of God's power, consuming the sacrifice and shattering the illusions of Baal worship. This is the Elijah of epic faith, of public triumph. But I want you to focus on the other Elijah, the one who emerged from that victory, not into accolades, but into the raw, unforgiving wilderness. The Elijah who, after such a profound spiritual high, found himself pursued by a vengeful queen, Jezebel, and spiraled into a profound despair. He ran, not with purpose, but in desperation, far into the solitude of the desert, and there, under the sparse shade of a lonely juniper tree, he collapsed. He told God, in the most raw and honest plea, that he had had enough. The biblical account in 1 Kings 19 paints a vivid picture. He lay down and slept under a juniper tree, and behold, an angel touched him and said to him, "Arise and eat." Scripture is unflinching in its portrayal. It says he lay down under that tree, utterly spent, in sheer exhaustion, and with a weary heart, he asked to die. This is not the image of a man radiating strength, purpose, or divine favor. This is not a man who looks poised to receive another earth-shattering divine commission or to embark on the next phase of a monumental calling. This is a man who, to all outward appearances, looks completely finished, utterly broken, depleted beyond measure, ready to simply cease. Yet, what was God's response in that moment of Elijah's profound human frailty and spiritual desolation? Did God rebuke him for his lack of faith? Did he deliver a stern sermon about resilience or chastise him for doubting his omnipotence? No, absolutely not. Instead, with boundless compassion and precise understanding, God sent an angel, a messenger of divine care, who gently touched him and offered a simple, profound instruction. Arise and eat. And then, a revelation of deep empathy, because the journey is too great for you. That miraculous provision, the baked bread and jar of water, was not a reward for Elijah's strength, for he had none left to offer. It was not a prize for his unwavering faith, for his faith was undeniably wavering. It was rather a tender, immediate and unconditional response to his utter, complete and vulnerable surrender. He gave up, and God showed up. And what transpired after that pivotal moment under the juniper tree? Not another public spectacle, but a deep, intimate encounter in the quietude of a cave, where God spoke to him not in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire, but in a still, small voice. From that renewed, humble place, Elijah received a fresh assignment, one that was so monumental it outlasted his own physical lifetime, shaping the spiritual landscape for generations. The very moment that appeared, from a human perspective, to be his lowest point, his deepest despair, his most profound spiritual failure, was in truth the very entry point, the hidden doorway, into his most enduring and impactful legacy. It was the genesis of a renewed purpose, birthed from the ashes of exhaustion and the embrace of divine sustenance. And perhaps, as you listen to this, a flicker of recognition sparks within your own soul. You, my friend, have been lying under that tree. You have felt the weariness, the spiritual exhaustion, the profound sense of being utterly spent. You have, in moments of raw honesty, perhaps even whispered your own version of, "I've had enough." The heavy cloak of despair or disappointment has settled upon you, making it difficult to discern the hand of God amidst the fog of your own perceived shortcomings. And in this vulnerable space, what you have interpreted, what the enemy has cunningly led you to believe, as spiritual failure, as a deficit of faith, as a sign that you are not strong enough or deserving enough, has actually been, all along, God meticulously, tenderly, and divinely preparing a sustaining meal for a journey you cannot yet fully comprehend, a path whose breadth and depth and ultimate glorious destination you cannot yet see the full scope of. He has been pouring strength into your vessel in ways you couldn't perceive, feeding your spirit when your flesh was failing, not to condemn your exhaustion, but to fuel your next steps. Your season of perceived dormancy has, in reality, been a season of profound divine cultivation, a sacred pause where heaven has been busy working behind the veil on your behalf. But now we must press in, for here is where the spiritual revelation goes even deeper, penetrating layers that often remain untouched and unseen. It is not merely about the deliberate silence you chose to embrace, that powerful act of restraint when every fiber of your being urged you to react, to speak, to engage in the fray. Those choices were significant, certainly, but they were symptoms, indicators. There is something far more profound, something intricately woven into the very fabric of your being, happening underneath all of that visible manifestation, a hidden spiritual undercurrent, a subterranean movement of divine purpose, which is the real, authentic conversation heaven has been having with your spirit. This is the bedrock revelation, the true transformation that often eludes many. Most people, tragically, never get to this profound level of understanding and liberation because they are content to stop at the surface victory, to simply celebrate the external manifestation of a breakthrough, or to lament the visible challenges. They never take the time, or perhaps lack the spiritual discernment, to truly examine the fertile, often complex soil in which that victory, or even the trial itself, took root and grew. They see the fruit, but not the roots. They witness the bloom, but ignore the rich earth that nourished it. But you, my friend, are being called to look deeper, to understand the foundational truths that are being unearthed and established within you. Let's dissect the enemy's insidious primary strategy this week, for it is far more cunning and nuanced than you might imagine. His aim has not been the blunt force trauma of trying to stop your breakthrough entirely. He possesses a perverse form of spiritual intelligence. He knows, deep down, that he cannot ultimately thwart or derail what has already been divinely decreed over your life. He recognizes the sovereign hand of God at work, the unchangeable promises embedded in eternity. So his strategy has been far more surgical, more precise, more psychologically penetrating than a direct assault. His weapon of choice this season has been to subtly, almost imperceptibly, get you to misinterpret your own sacred story, to twist the narrative of your journey until it becomes unrecognizable and self-defeating. He is a master storyteller of lies, a weaver of deceptive tapestries. He has been whispering the right facts and true events, real experiences from your life, but he has meticulously arranged them in the wrong order, creating a distorted timeline that leads to a false conclusion. He has been showing you authentic, verifiable moments from your real life, moments of pause, of waiting, of struggle, of decision, and placing them with perverse artistry inside a completely false, condemning narrative. The insidious conclusion he wants you to draw from this skewed perspective is that you are not ready, that you are somehow lacking, that you failed to meet some invisible deadline. He wants you to believe that you moved too slow, that you hesitated when you should have acted, that you let the window of opportunity irrevocably close. He insists that the version of you who chose to stay quiet, who opted for spiritual release rather than desperate grasping, who practiced profound surrender instead of frantic striving, is a diminished version of yourself, weak, ineffective, somehow less than. He seeks to convince you that this quiet, yielding self is not a refined version, not a battle-hardened, wisdom-imbued vessel, but a defeated one, a person who missed their moment. This is the essence of his psychological warfare: to make you your own accuser, to turn your past into a weapon against your future. And I implore you to understand something critically important about the sophisticated nature of this kind of deception, for it is far more subtle and dangerous than overt temptation. It rarely, if ever, comes heralded by something obviously evil, something that immediately raises red flags or screams, demonic attack. If it did, your spiritual sensors would instantly reject it. Instead, this most potent form of spiritual manipulation comes through a far more intimate, far more trusted conduit. It comes through your own voice. It presents itself as what sounds, on the surface, like honest, introspective, and even virtuous self-reflection, a deep dive into self-critique. The enemy is not foolish. He understands the depth of your spiritual discernment. He knows that you are robust and wise enough, grounded enough in truth, to immediately reject an overt external accusation, a blatant lie from a foreign source. So, with cunning precision, he has learned to adapt his tactics. He has mastered the art of ventriloquism, speaking directly into the chamber of your mind, using your tone, resonating at your precise frequency, employing your unique vocabulary, your personal vernacular, and delivering a verdict, a judgment that sounds uncannily like genuine self-awareness, like a moment of profound personal insight or accountability. But do not be fooled. What masquerades as truthful introspection is, in reality, a meticulously crafted spiritual trap, designed to bind you in shame, doubt, and paralysis, severing your connection to divine truth and keeping you from the glorious future God has ordained. It's the serpent in the garden, speaking through the familiar, appealing to your intellect and your desire for truth, but twisting it into a soul-crushing lie. Therefore, it is imperative that you differentiate with absolute clarity. That relentless, often cruel inner critic you have been listening to with such intensity and anguish this week, that persistent voice tearing down your efforts, questioning your motives, undermining your worth, let me be unequivocally clear: that is not your conscience. Your conscience, a divine gift, is designed to guide you toward rectitude, to gently, or sometimes firmly, lead you to correction when you genuinely deviate, and ultimately to usher you into a state of profound peace, reconciliation, and restoration. Its purpose is to illuminate truth, to bring about healthy conviction that motivates change and growth. It's a compass, not a cudgel. What you have been hearing, however, that relentless monologue of self-condemnation, that spiral of accusation and regret, leads you only to spiritual paralysis and debilitating shame. It freezes you in place, making action impossible, and wraps you in a suffocating blanket of unworthiness. These are not merely different nuances of the same internal voice. These are two fundamentally, radically different spiritual sources at play within the battlefield of your soul. One is from the Spirit of God, a whisper of grace and guidance. The other is from the spirit of accusation, a scream of condemnation and control. Discerning the source is the key to breaking free from its grip. And what is coming next in just a moment, the thing I'm about to show you about the decision you have been second-guessing, is the part that is going to break this cycle at its root. Stay with me, because here is the profound, liberating truth you absolutely need to understand about that specific, agonizing decision. The one that haunts your quiet hours, the one you have been ceaselessly replaying in the theater of your mind, dissecting every angle, every word, every potential outcome. The one that felt, in the moment, like an act of profound surrender or letting go, when every instinct, every societal expectation, perhaps even your own fear, screamed that you should have held on tighter, grasped more firmly, fought harder. The very decision that the enemy, with his relentless accusations, has been cunningly presenting to you as irrefutable evidence of your weakness, your timidity, your lack of resolve, or your spiritual inadequacy. I declare to you, that decision did not close a door. No, it was not a termination, a finality, a sealing off of opportunity. Instead, in a powerful prophetic act that you could not fully perceive at the time, that decision cleared a room. Imagine a sacred space within your life, previously cluttered with the debris of the past, filled with things that were good but not God, or even things that were simply not meant for your next chapter. Your choice, your act of release, swept that space clean, and you cannot yet fully perceive or grasp what glorious divine purpose is meant to fill that newly opened expansive space, because that spiritual room is still actively being sanctified, cleansed, and meticulously prepared by heaven itself for what is coming, for the arrival of something so pure, so potent, so perfectly aligned with your destiny, that it demands an unblemished, consecrated vessel. But understand this with unwavering clarity. The precise moment you made that choice, the very instant you consciously chose to release instead of desperately grasping, to gracefully walk away instead of foolishly escalating, to let it go with trust instead of trying to force an outcome through sheer will or control. That moment was not an act of losing something precious or vital. It was rather a powerful, prophetic act of making room for something far greater, something holier, something more aligned with your truest self and highest calling, something that could not, under any spiritual law, coexist in the same space with what you so courageously released. It was an act of divine decluttering, clearing the stage for a new, grander play. Reflect upon the powerful, transformative account of Jacob at the Jabbok River, a narrative that speaks volumes about divine encounter and the nature of true blessing. Jacob, on the eve of a terrifying reunion with his estranged brother Esau, found himself utterly alone in the darkness. There, in that profound solitude and fear, he wrestled through the long, arduous night with an unknown assailant, whom Scripture later reveals to be an angel, a messenger of God. The struggle was intense, physical, and deeply spiritual, and the sacred text records a pivotal detail. When the angel, despite his divine power, could not prevail against him, a testament to Jacob's fierce, stubborn tenacity, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip with a supernatural touch, and it was immediately dislocated, wrenched out of joint. From that moment, Jacob wrestled on, but now with a profound, debilitating limp, a physical manifestation of his encounter. It was in this dramatically weakened position, in that agonizing moment of physical vulnerability and forced surrender, his body broken but his spirit unyielding, that Jacob, clinging on through the pain, declared with raw, desperate faith, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." And what transpired? His name was changed. No longer would he be Jacob, the deceiver or supplanter, but Israel, he who struggles with God and prevails. This monumental renaming, this conferral of a new identity and destiny, did not happen before the wound. It happened after it, in the crucible of his suffering. The profound generational blessing came not despite the injury, but through the very injury that, by all human standards, should have utterly disqualified him, rendering him useless for leadership or physical exertion. He walked into his magnificent new name, his elevated purpose, with a visible, unmistakable limp, a physical reminder he would carry for the rest of his earthly life. And that limp, that permanent alteration, was not a shameful reminder of failure, not a badge of defeat, not a mark of inadequacy. No, it was, in truth, the indelible sacred mark of a man who had grappled with the divine in the profound darkness of his deepest fear, who had refused to release his grip until heaven released its favor. It was the visible evidence of a transforming encounter, a testament to his tenacity and God's faithfulness. The thing you are limping from right now is not a sign that you lost the wrestle. It is the mark of someone who held on until the blessing came through. And this profound truth leads us to a revelation that most people, even those walking a spiritual path, miss entirely, a jewel of wisdom often obscured by human striving for perfection. The ones who are truly chosen for the kind of monumental, transformative assignment you are being meticulously prepared for, the ones destined to carry a unique torch of hope and healing into a fractured world, are emphatically not chosen because they are miraculously without wound. They are not plucked from the masses because they possess some pristine, unblemished or pain-free existence. Such an expectation is not only unrealistic, but utterly misses the profound spiritual alchemy at play. Instead, they are chosen precisely because they have learned, through arduous experience and divine grace, what to do with the wound. They have discovered the sacred purpose hidden within the pain. They do not attempt to conceal their scars with layers of pretense or shame, pretending an unblemished perfection that does not exist. They do not perform past their pain, putting on a brave face while their soul bleeds in secret, attempting to outrun or ignore the very experiences that have shaped them. No, the true mark of a chosen one is that they carry their wounds honestly, openly, and with profound spiritual integrity. And in that very transparency, that raw, authentic vulnerability, a miraculous spiritual dynamic unfolds. That honesty, that willingness to expose the deeper truths of their journey, becomes the universal language through which others, recognizing themselves in the mirror of your shared humanity, awaken to the liberating truth that their own wounds, their own perceived imperfections, their own scars and struggles, are not, never have been, and never will be, disqualifying either. Your visible limp becomes a beacon of hope for another's hidden struggle. It is in the shared brokenness that true connection and profound healing begin. Therefore, understand this deeply. Your courageous transparency about the profound weight of this season, the genuine struggles you have faced, the quiet battles you have fought, the burdens that have pressed down upon your spirit, this is not, contrary to the enemy's insidious whispers, a vulnerability that he can exploit or weaponize against you. On the contrary, it is a spiritual superpower. It is the very essence, the vital conduit that makes what you are carrying, the wisdom, the empathy, the resilience, the grace you have accumulated profoundly transferable to others. Think of it metaphorically. You cannot pour life-giving water, healing oil, or illuminating light from a vessel that is perfectly sealed, pristine, and impenetrable. The precious contents remain locked within. It is precisely through the journey, through the pressures and trials of life, that the vessel begins to develop what appear, to the human eye, as cracks or fissures. But these cracks are not failures of your container, not signs of irreparable damage or inadequacy. No, these are the sacred openings, the divinely ordained pathways, where the light of God's grace, the truth of His redemptive power, and the empathy born of your own journey get through, streaming forth to touch and illuminate the lives of the people who desperately need what you carry, who are thirsting for the living water you hold. Your brokenness becomes a channel for His wholeness, your scars a testimony to His healing, your perceived flaws the very entry points for His divine light to reach a dark world. But let me press into something deeper here, because there is a layer underneath even that which most people in your position never examine. And coming up, the hidden root of what has been delaying your peace. This is the part that is going to feel uncomfortable before it feels freeing, because it always does when truth gets this close to home. Here is the startling, yet profoundly liberating truth about the immense, oppressive weight you have been carrying within your spirit, often unnoticed, often accepted as your own burden. The startling truth is this: some, indeed much, of it is simply not yours. It never belonged to you. It was never assigned to your spirit by divine decree. You picked it up, piece by agonizing piece, somewhere along your unique journey through life's complex landscape. And you did so not out of malice or foolishness, but precisely because you are the extraordinary kind of person who feels deeply, whose empathy extends beyond the superficial, whose heart aches with the struggles of others. You are the one who takes responsibility seriously, often to a fault, believing it is your duty to manage outcomes and mend brokenness. You are the one who, with a noble but misguided spirit, would rather carry more, absorb more, endure more, than stand idly by and watch someone else struggle, suffer, or collapse under their own burden. This profound capacity for empathy, this deep sense of responsibility, this willingness to step into the breach for others, these are not weaknesses. On the contrary, they are magnificent, divinely imprinted gifts, marks of a compassionate and servant heart. But what the enemy, ever the deceiver, has done with your sacred gift is something truly insidious. He has twisted it, weaponized it, turning your beautiful empathic heart into a spiritual storage unit, a receptacle for burdens that were never meant for your shoulders. He has been systematically, cunningly loading weight onto you, the emotional fallout of others' choices, the spiritual debris of their failures, the relational strains they create, the unfulfilled expectations from their lives, weight that was never, ever assigned to your soul. Why? Because he knows a fundamental spiritual principle, a chosen one, a person destined for significant impact and divine purpose, with their sacred assigned load doubled or tripled by unassigned burdens, moves at half the speed, if they move at all. He knows that an overloaded vessel founders, that a burdened spirit becomes weary and ineffective, and that a spirit taxed beyond its capacity eventually stalls, unable to fulfill its true, God-given mission. Take a deep, honest inventory of your spirit. I guarantee you, there are heavy burdens residing within your chest right now, pressing against your heart, weighing down your very soul, that genuinely and irrevocably belong to other people's choices, their decisions, their consequences, their unresolved issues. These are not your burdens to bear, yet you have shouldered them with a sense of obligation. There are outcomes, entire trajectories of events that you have been, with relentless self-criticism, holding yourself personally responsible for, outcomes that were never, not for a single moment, truly within your power to control, to steer, or to fix. You are not omnipotent, and that is a grace, not a flaw. Furthermore, there are complex, draining relationships you have been painstakingly managing, delicately balancing, and constantly tending to, often at great cost to your own peace and well-being. There are intricate interpersonal dynamics you have been striving to maintain, to stabilize, to keep from imploding, pouring your energy into situations that were never yours to orchestrate. And there are profound, often painful silences you have been meticulously protecting, guarding secrets, shielding others from consequences, or preventing necessary confrontations, not because you were divinely called to carry these specific responsibilities, not because they align with your true purpose, but because somewhere along the winding path of your life, in a moment of vulnerability or misguided compassion, you made a hidden, unconscious agreement. You decided in the depths of your being that your intrinsic worth, your value as a person, your lovability, was inextricably connected to how much you could hold, how much you could absorb, how much you could endure without visibly breaking, without showing the strain. This unspoken contract, this internal vow of self-sacrifice, has been silently draining your spiritual reserves, convincing you that your strength is measured by your capacity for suffering on behalf of others. And this, precisely this, is the subtle, hidden agreement, the unspoken contract you unknowingly entered into that has been quietly, insidiously taxing your spirit, depleting your energy, and eroding your peace from within. It's not primarily the overt, external attacks of the enemy, though those are real. It's not merely the crushing weight of circumstances pressing in from every conceivable direction, though those trials are undeniably challenging. No, the most profound drain, the most deeply embedded spiritual hindrance, stems from the agreement you made with yourself at some critical juncture, perhaps very early in your life, imprinted during formative experiences, or solidified through patterns of selfless giving. This agreement whispers and insists that love, true, authentic love, invariably looks like relentless sacrifice. That genuine purpose, a calling from heaven, must inevitably manifest as an onerous burden, and that true worthiness, the deep, abiding sense of belonging and value, is achieved only through profound, unending endurance, through suffering and resilience, rather than being an inherent, divinely bestowed state. This internal narrative, this deeply ingrained belief system, has convinced you that you must earn your place, that you must pay a price for your destiny, that suffering is the currency of spiritual legitimacy. This hidden agreement is the silent thief of your joy, masquerading as virtue. Isaiah 53 describes the servant of God this way: "He has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows." There is only one person in history who was assigned to carry what belonged to others as an act of redemptive purpose. And that is not you. That assignment was fulfilled, which means everything you have been carrying that belongs to someone else's story is weight you were never meant to bear, and you do not have to walk into Tuesday with it. The release is not irresponsible. The release is the assignment. And now we have reached the part that changes everything. The part I need you to sit with, even if it is uncomfortable. Because here is what nobody tells the chosen ones. Here is the thing that gets glossed over in every prophetic word about your destiny and your greatness and your ordained purpose. The thing that has been blocking you is not the enemy. It is not your past. It is not the people who hurt you, or the doors that closed, or the time that passed. The thing that has been blocking you is your own inability to believe that you deserve what God has already written for you without first suffering enough to earn it. You have been in a works-based relationship with your own destiny. You keep believing that if you endure enough, sacrifice enough, prove enough, wait long enough, Then maybe the blessing will feel legitimate. Then maybe you will feel worthy of receiving it without guilt. Then maybe you will stop bracing for it to be taken away because some part of you still believes you have not paid enough to keep it. But grace does not work that way. The inheritance was not purchased with your suffering. It was purchased before your suffering began. And what God has written over your life does not require your pain as a down payment. It requires your surrender, not the surrender of defeat. The surrender of a child who finally stops trying to carry the weight of their own redemption and lets the one who already did that do what he promised. You are not walking into Tuesday to earn anything. You are walking into Tuesday to receive what was already prepared. The difference between those two postures is the difference between straining and stepping in. And for the first time in a long time, you are being given permission to step in without having to earn the ground beneath your feet. This is your moment. Not the moment after you get it right. Not the moment after you prove yourself worthy. This moment, right now. In the wait and the uncertainty and the 3 a.m. thoughts and the second guessing and the limp and the silence. Right here is where heaven is meeting you. Place your hand on your chest and speak this with every part of you that is tired of straining. I release every burden that was never mine to carry. I release every verdict the enemy has spoken over my decisions this week. I release the agreement that my worth is measured by how much I can endure. I break agreement with the lie that my silence was surrender and declare that my restraint was my weapon. I receive what has already been written over my life without condition, without performance, and without delay. I walk into tomorrow not as someone trying to pass a test, but as someone who has already been found worthy by the one whose verdict is the only one that matters. The confusion ends now. The cycle closes now. The weight lifts now. And I step forward into the room that has been waiting for me with nothing to prove and everything to receive. It is done. It is sealed. And I will not leave this moment unchanged. If this word found you today, it did not find you by accident. Share it with one person whose spirit has been under pressure this week. You do not have to explain it. Just send it. Because maybe what you just received was meant to travel further than you.